Hey everyone and welcome to the Learning Ladder. Today I thought I would share some ideas and suggestions and just my thoughts on what you can do now you're all at home. It's going to be quite a considerable shock for people who have all been in school to suddenly be at home, but it's also a considerable shock for us homeschoolers, home educators. I don't want people to think that this is what home education is like. It is not at all. We love going out, we love going on field trips, we love socialising, we love learning life skills in the real world. So please don't think that this is what home education is like, because this is extreme circumstances, but we are all in it together. So now is the time to share our ideas and be a team and get through this, because we'll all get through it, and if we stick together and look out for each other, then we'll come out of it better people. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do is suggest and talk about learning at home and what learning at home means and what it doesn't have to mean. So the first thing you need to think about is, in a school setting, we are there from 9 till 3. We are there for 9 till 3, not because that's what's important for learning or that that's what's required for learning or needed to learn. We are there from 9 till 3 for a lot of other reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with education and to do with social things. So for example, childcare, which we're seeing is a huge factor now more than ever, because that's why they delayed the closures for so long, due to childcare. So don't think that you have to replicate school at home. You don't at all. School at home can be so many different things. Learning can be so many different things. Learning can be tailored to your children individually. So we just step back a bit, because that's a lot of garbled information. So let's just look at the basics of what skills, for example, you might want to work on. So I'm guessing most schools are going to recommend to concentrate on the two, maths and English, so language arts, as the foundation, and anything else you can do is addition, extra on top. A lot of schools might already be giving you work to do, but you've got to remember that might be hard for a lot of kids, because they're used to doing work at school, not work at home. We don't do stuff like that at home, and that might be the attitude you get, and you need to be prepared for that, and work around that. So some of the things that are important to consider is learning through play. So you can learn so many things, you can do so many skills through play. It doesn't have to be, you do the worksheet that the school sent home for you. Hopefully they'll be a bit more creative than that, but it's desperate times. That's all they have time to prepare for you. So you're having feedback from the kids. I don't want to do this. This is boring. Blah blah blah. You can do so much learning through play. So for example, let me just talk about my daughter. My daughter is huge on pretend play. If I was to give her the choice between a board game and pretend play, 9 times out of 10 she will choose pretend play against a board game. Not that she doesn't like board games, she really does, but pretend play is so fun for children. They see the world very different than we do as an adult. What we think of pretend play is, oh, it's playing house and everything else. They see it so differently, and they can create vast, diverse and creative imaginative settings in their head, which they then want to act out and play. And I know what you're thinking, oh my god, I don't want to sit there and play house. And don't worry, you don't have to be the leader of the pretend play. The child will be the leader, and that's how it should be. You just sit there with them on the floor, wherever it is, wherever they've chosen their setting to be, and just follow their lead. They'll give you instructions normally about what's going on, and if they don't, you're intuitive enough to follow along. Don't lead. Don't try to be the lead. Step back. Let them lead you. And they'll come up with some amazing ideas for play. But we want them to get some learning in there. And this is where you can let them do their imaginative play, but you can think of some additional ideas. So for example, we're playing store. They've gone into the cupboard. Hopefully you've got some things in there, unlike us, but hopefully you have. And you're getting your tins out, you're getting your packets of pasta out and everything else. We're playing shop. They've set it all up and everything else. We're doing some maths with money. So if you've got some change or play change, real money's better, but if you've got some play change, get that out. Because if you're using real money, obviously, it's real life skills. But, pretend money is absolutely fine too. And they're doing some maths. If it's little kids, we're looking at the price and we're trying to match our coins. If it's older children, as in like first to third, we are doing some maths. We're adding, subtracting. our list. So we've got our grocery list where we've got so much money to spend. What can we buy for that amount of money? So we're getting our maths in there. If it's younger kids, we're counting. How many of this do we want on our list? How many of those things do we want on our list? So that's maths covered. Social skills, extremely important. We can role play customers. We can be a nice customer. We can be a grumpy customer. We can be a challenging customer. We can be a demanding customer. There's so many different social skills you can learn through playing shop, for example. And then science. We're looking at the tin of tomatoes. Do you know how tomatoes grow? Yes, hopefully. No, that's absolutely fine too. We can see it as a learning challenge, a learning activity. We can go find out, and don't be afraid to say you don't know too. That's absolutely fine, because no one knows everything, and the whole point of that is a child sees, oh, you don't know something, but you found a way to find something out, and that is a really, really important skill to learn, and to show that you have an enthusiasm about researching too. Go find the book, go Google, find out where tomatoes grow, what country they come from. Do you know where that is on the map? Go off and that's obviously UK, but say for example it's a banana. Let's go and find out where bananas grow. Let's go get our map out or our atlas out, and let's have a look where they grow. So we've got geography in there. Let's think about some science. So what foods are good for us to eat? What foods are bad for us to eat? Let's look at the food table. So how many of this should we have? How many of this versus how many fats and sugars and everything else should we have? So there's so many different ways that you can get learning in just by playing pretend play. Now think about as well other things that your kids like. So for example, if it's a boy or a girl who likes pets, so we could play dog salon. We could get all our stuffies out, our stuffed dogs, and our brush and our scissors and kids' scissors, depending on how old they are, and we can pretend to do a dog salon day. We can make it more elaborate. We can have a menu of things that we offer, services we offer in our dog salon. So you're getting some language arts in there. They're writing their menu out of activities that the spa will offer. Maybe it's a doggy daycare. They're going to do sleepovers. They're going to do walking the dog. They can get some language arts in, writing everything out onto their menu list. They could research. So for example, you've got, I don't know, a cat, you've got a dog at home. What breed are they? Go and do some research on your dog, your cat. Write me something. It doesn't have to be essay, it can be a few sentences, but they're still practicing those essential language arts skills. Researching if they're reading books, they're getting some reading practice in reading comprehension. If they're going online to find out about the breed, they're getting some IT skills in there. So cross-curricular is where we're mixing in all different skills, all different subject areas into one activity. So in that dog spa, we've done some language arts, so we've done some reading, writing, we've done some reading comprehension, we've done some research, we've practiced our spelling, we've done some maths if we put prices on there for how much each service is going to cost. We have done some science, researching about different breeds. We've done some IT, we're going on our computer, we're practicing safe internet skills. There's so many different things that you can incorporate into pretend play. And then think about history, for example. If you're fortunate to have grandparents or great-grandparents who are self-isolating, give them a call. Let's find out about some point in history. Let's go ask grandma about this or grandpa about that. And grandpa and grandma are all excited on the phone, listening, talking to their grandchild about some point in history. And then your child can act it out as a presentation. So if you've got a few siblings, they can do a little play talking about that point in history that their grandma or grandpa told them all about. They could write something. They could do an oral presentation. There's so many different ways that learning can be incorporated into just everyday activities and bringing it to life and making it fun. And you'll be amazed how kids are able to do that without your assistance. So don't think that you have to be on all the time, 24 hours a day, apart from when they're asleep. You've got to be on there. You need to be providing activities. Absolutely, you do not. And it's best if you give them time to figure out what it is they want to do. Give them time to play and come up with a game by themselves, because you'll be amazed how much better they will come up with ideas than you will. And also, younger kids, that's going to be a little bit more challenging, but you could do directive free choice. So you could say, okay, on the kitchen table, we're going to have this today. On the living room table, we're going to have this activity. On the carpet, we're going to have this. And in the, whatever room, we're going to have this. And try and make it a bit more creative. So, places maybe that they wouldn't normally do stuff, will make it exciting. So, for example, they can paint in the bathroom. So it's easy for you because it's clean up easier, because usually most people don't have carpet in the bathroom. And it's exciting for them because, wow, I don't usually get to paint in the bathroom. Make it fun that way, giving them opportunities. And it's still free choice because they can choose which area of the house they go to do their activity in. But you're suggesting things if they're of that age where they need a bit more assistance to come up with something creative. But you'll be amazed what kids will come up with by themselves. And I'll give you 2 examples. One which was directed learning from me that then turned into independent learning from her. And then one that had absolutely nothing to do with me at all. So we watched an episode on Mystery Science, which is an amazing program that you can do on your computer if you have access to the internet. It's they are doing a lot of free options now for school, for children that have not been in school. So a lot, you don't have to subscribe. There's that option if you want to. And I think it's an amazing package, but if you want to choose the free options, you can. Anyway, there was a video about washing your hands and germs, and with the coronavirus. So my daughter watched that, and then I went to the toilet, and when I came back, she got her microscope out, and she had her little test tube out, and she was going to collect rainwater that had absolutely nothing to do with me and nothing to do with the video, in terms of he didn't say go and do that. She just took, watched the video, learning all about germs, and thought, I want to see some germs under my microscope. So she went and got herself some rainwater and helped to make a little slide so she could look at the rainwater. And then she decided of her own free choice to go and get some water out the dog bowl to do the exact same thing. So that's how a directed activity can turn into much more. And then if you think, and then the example I said earlier about me having nothing to do with it, this morning I went downstairs to make breakfast. On the table, I just glanced and there was a tangerine there, and I thought to myself, oh, someone must have left a tangerine out. My daughter saw a tangerine on the table as an amazing opportunity. She went and got a googly eye, she went and got a glue, she went and got a little pipe cleaner to make a face, and she decorated this tangerine while I was making breakfast, and I had absolutely nothing to do with that, aside from the fact that I have craft supplies on our shelf. I never mentioned the tangerine. I never said, why didn't you go and do this or anything else? And that's what I mean. Children can and should find opportunities throughout the day to entertain themselves. You don't have to be on the whole time, and you couldn't. It's just not feasible. You will burn out if you try to. But there are so many ways that you can incorporate activities and learning and bring them together without your child even realising they're actually learning. And that's huge, especially if a child is having difficulties detaching themselves from, well, I learn in school, I don't do that at home. Okay. I wrote a list, so I didn't digress too much because I have a habit of doing that. So I'm just going to have a look at other things. So notes that I made. So thinking about, we don't have much money, we don't have a lot of supplies, which is going to be a very challenging thing when we're all at home. You'll be amazed at what you can find in your home that you didn't even remember you had, that children can play with. Old magazines, they can do some collages. You don't have to go out and buy all these different supplies. You'd be amazed at what you have in your house if you just have a good look around, or just let them go and have a look themselves. You go with them. Let's go and see what we can find, what treasures we can find, make it into an adventure. Who can find the first blah 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 in the house to play with? The other ideas I've got is learning new skills. So for example, if they are wanting to learn to skip, that's a great way, opportunity to do that. Tying laces, things that you've always wanted to teach them, but you've put it off because you don't have time or anything like that. You're all going to be at home together. Now's the time to think about those things. I think the biggest thing as well is remembering you're all in it together. So being a team, working together. So if you think it will help, come up with some kind of team name, or some kind of theme. So if they're into Harry Potter or Lego or Star Wars or My Little Pony, we're going to be this. Which character do you want to be? And we're all working together, and we're all going to get points for working together and helping each other. And at the end of, when we've got so many points, we'll do this. And I know you think, well, we can't go out. No, obviously not. But you can do things at home that you wouldn't necessarily always do. Movie nights, which probably a lot of people are going to be watching movies right now, but you could say, well, each kid gets to choose a different movie on a different night. It could be story time, so we'll, you know, read more bedtime stories than normal. You can stay up a little bit later. We can have a treat. You know, there's so many different things that you can do as a team to make it more fun and exciting, and keeping that solidarity and team spirit that we're all in this together. Okay, remember, it will pass, and tell them that it will go back to normal, and they can think about things that they want to do and make a list of things they want to do when everything goes back to normal, because it will eventually, you know, and keeping that in the forefront of their mind that this will end and things will go back to normal. Getting outside as much as possible in your garden if you've got an outside space. This is at the, I guess, if you can even look at it this way, the better time of year. You know, spring's coming, summer's coming, in terms of being able to go into our little garden. If you've got a garden, I appreciate and sympathise with so many people who don't. But if you do, use that as an opportunity to get all those energies out. And don't see it as, oh, one day it is raining, or if we can't go outside, it's raining. Think of, well, we get our boots on, we'll get our brollies, our umbrellas, and we'll go run around the garden, get our energy out. Yes, we might get a bit muddy, but when we come back in, you're not going to have 5 pants or trousers or to wash we're covered in mud, because your kids are going to help you. We're going to make a science experiment out of it. We're going to go and get our washing powder, and we're going to pre-scrub all our little pants, so we don't have to, mum doesn't have to do it all, and it's going to be fun because we're going to learn how washing powder helps clean clothes. And if you don't know, don't worry, we can Google it. But you know, the fun of, oh, we're going to get a little brush and we're going to help wash our pants, and then that can lead to a historical conversation. So guess what? They didn't have washing machines in the old days. What did they do? What else didn't they have? Let's go around the house and stick a post-it note on things that they didn't have in the olden days, and think about what they did do instead. And that's a history lesson for you. The other thing as well is, as I said, to just maintain and keep as positive as you can, in terms of it. There are going to be days where your kids are going to be like, I want to go outside, I don't want to play, I hate this is horrible, and you're probably feeling the exact same way. And empathize. Don't throw away their feelings, and you know, as much as possible, but at the end of the day as well, it will pass. Sympathize, empathize with them, but then try and move on to something more positive. But we can do this, we can do that. And if you've got older kids, teenagers, I can't speak on that because I don't have any, and you're way more wiser than I am if you do. But some of the things I was thinking about is, if you think to yourself, well, in a couple of years they're going to be out of the house, this is maybe a great opportunity to reconnect and do things you would never normally do. Even that might mean you doing a TikTok with your kid. Can you imagine all these mums on TikTok with their kids doing some kind of dance? I just think that'd be so fun with a teenage kid. Play that computer game with your son that you would never do ever. Let him teach you how to play some kind of computer game that you would never do. If your daughter or your son is into fashion, let them model you, dress you up, choose your outfit, do your hair, do your makeup. If it's a dad, you know, teach your kids some kind of skill that you think like they don't know, like how to change a plug, how to change a tire. If you can do that, obviously safely distancing. You know, this is the opportunity to do all those kind of things that we can't do normally, or we have limited time to do so. And just remember, it will pass. And children learn so much more than you will ever think. By just playing and learning through play, and you just chatting to them and giving them free choice. So what do you want to learn about? Let's see this as an opportunity to, well, if you've always wanted to learn about that but we've not had time, we'll do that together. We'll do this big project together. We'll learn about all these different things together. And it will pass. It will get better. And I wish you all the best, and if I can help in any way, definitely let me know. And if you've got any more ideas to share, leave them in the comments below for anyone else who watches this video. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye for now.